Another thing that I hear often now, and it's maybe one of the newer buzzwords, is innovation.
Yeah.
And organizations are trying to find ways to include innovation into their culture. Not easy, people like their roots, they like the routines, and innovation kind of speaks to changing routines in some cases. And it's something that I know you speak on quite often. And I've been very interested to see, when you think about cultural aspects and how slow culture can change, what would be your advice for organizations looking to improve their innovation, but then also their agility too, because you need to be ready for both, otherwise they kind of have to come hand in hand, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's some of the things that we talked about just in terms of creating that environment where people feel comfortable taking risks, putting themselves outside of their comfort zone. So it starts first with cultivating more of a growth mindset, which is like you can learn from mistakes. There's always the opportunity to get better instead of sort of punitive, you have to have the right answer and you'll be shut down if you don't. So that's immediately gonna put the blocker on people wanting to innovate and try new things and take risks. So I think just sort of cultivating that growth mindset. The other thing I think people can do is, if you want to have your employees feel be more innovative, is to step out of their way a little bit and to stop micromanaging.
Yeah,
right? So I think a lot of times companies think like innovation has to exist in one part of the company, or like certain people are anointed as lead innovators, when quite frankly, the best ideas probably come from people who are closest to the work, and they can come from any part of the organization. So if everyone is kind of treated, again, like back to that an owner mindset, if you want your employees to act like an owner, treat them like an owner. So give them the space and the rope, right, to do things in their own sort of creative, innovative way. Paint the picture of the desired outcome and give guardrails, but then step back and let them, do it the way, and be there for coaching and support, but stop micromanaging them. And if you let people, if you create this spirit of we're always getting better, we can learn from mistakes, and then you give them the space to be able to do that, I think you'll be surprised where those innovative ideas actually come from.
Yeah, I think one of the red flags that I've worked with some of my clients on is you start looking around, where do the best ideas come from? And sometimes it's always one person, or it's the senior leader, the boss, the owner is the only person that's come up with any of the new ideas in the last 5 years. That's a red flag right there, right?
That is, and I think that's also sort of maybe indicative of sort of the confirmation bias. Like people will double down on who the most powerful voice is in the room, because you don't have that culture where everybody can sort of come forward. So I think that's one thing to think about. If all the ideas are coming from one, like you said, one person or one part of the organization, think about all the ideas that you're missing. And then by the way, I think a lot of people think innovation means it's going to be this one big magical amazing idea. But don't forget, that one big idea comes from all the tiny little conversations, all the tiny little seeds that have been planted along the way. And if in every single meeting, since the workday is always filled with meeting, people aren't sharing their ideas, they don't feel comfortable, you're not building on anything new or innovative. You're just getting a little bit more of the same. So it all starts with that culture, right? Where people feel comfortable, confident, try new things and being themselves at work.
Yeah.